Hello, hello, hello. Hey, you guys, it's your girl, Miss Mouthy. I am so sorry to keep y'all waiting, but like they say, good things are worth the wait, okay? And so, this is your girl, Miss Mouthy, and you have stumbled upon the Miss Mouthy podcast. Hey, Lips, thank you for returning. I love that you came to pop your shit with your girl. And if you are new, set of lips, you have stumbled upon a podcast that's all about in this day and age, the resistance against trans folks and black folks and any other marginalized group of people in today's society. And so today is a four series part event called Eden's Garden. And this is part one that's leading up to a series of amazing events that's going to happen at the Visible Voices Festival in New York. And so I wanted to have each individual person come on and not only talk about the development of what it was like to be on the Eden's Garden show. And if you have not known, the Miss Mouthy podcast has been partnering up with amazing like artists, individual, creator, all around jack of all trades, Seven King. And so he is having an amazing event come in New York in June. And so part of his creation has been the Eden Garden Project. And so we thought it would be better every week to bring you either a character or some vital part or person that was a part of this project. And today I have such a special guest that's coming in. Um, to be able to talk about their experience doing the project, who they are personally, so you lips can get a sense of new rising up and coming stars or already self-proclaimed stars. I don't know, but we will find out today. Yeah. Special guest, can you introduce yourself for the folks?
Absolutely. My name is Barry, Barry Brooks. I'm from upstate New York, and I'm one of the main characters in the Eden's Garden series. I play Rico, and I just want to thank you for inviting me on the podcast and being able to be a part of this conversation.
Of course, thank you for coming. I think it's so important to have people that's a part of the project um to speak their narrative, but also on a personal level to be able to talk about your own journey and experience. I think one of the most biggest things in this vital time is how we're living in a society is that's often trying to silence, dehumanize, or erase a whole group of people. And so my legacy now is how do I amplify our stories and how do I archive our experiences while still standing firm and letting people know in that resistance that we have always been here and we will continue to be here long after the many failed attempts of folks trying to erase our history. So, tell me a little
Right.
bit about you and how things came about with you just either coming into your own identity or your self discovery.
So that actually, I know it's gonna sound a little cliche, but ever since I was young, um, I always felt a lot different than obviously the norm, of being born female. And, I grew up in a household of brothers. So I have all brothers, I have no sisters. So it was very much like, I wanted to dress like my brothers. I wanted to do things my brothers were doing,
Yeah.
like playing sports and being outside, getting dirty, and just all the air quote boy things. And like I said, I just grew up always feeling a little different. Um, and I think I really came out of my shell when I started like kind of being a lot more aware of myself when I got to college. So when I graduated high school and I went to college, I went to a local college right here where I'm from, but that college attracted a lot of people from all over. It was very diverse, and a lot of my really good friends were just so comfortable with themselves,
Yeah.
and a lot of them were part of the LGBT. At the time, it was just LGBT community. This was back in 2011 when I was in college. So everybody was just very self-aware, very unapologetic of who they were, where they were coming from, and I always give credit to those that were around me because they really helped me understand who I was and be confident in it. I was never confident in it. I was always told growing up because I played basketball my whole life, and
Okay.
it was always the stigma of, oh, you're gay, and this and that. You must like girls because you're boyish, and as you see, I got broad shoulders. I've always had broad shoulders. I've always had the defined muscle tone, and um, it always made me insecure until I started realizing, like, no, I've always felt a certain way for a reason. I've never felt like I should have been born, a female. My brothers grew up calling me bro most of the time. It was very, 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 you know, easy for them to feel that way about me. So, I said when I got to college, it was just very much of an eye opener on those around me, and it made me feel comfortable to just step out of my shell. And not necessarily everybody, felt like they were transgender. It was just in the aspect of they were comfortable with themselves. So that really helped me be able to be consistent with my thoughts.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. And
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
one interesting thing to take away is that like currently the administration is trying to ban a lot of things for trans youth. And so like you were saying, being younger and being very self-aware, what things do you think needs to either happen, or what encouraging things happen to you at a young age that help you kind of get to a point of being comfortable with yourself and having that?
Um, so basically, like what helped me when I was younger.
Yeah, so like oftentimes a lot of youth is being policed, right? Like the young
Right.
people are being policed by the government, sometimes by their own in-house family. But the fact that you said your brothers had supported you, what was it that your brothers necessarily did that made you felt seen while growing up as a young person?
Um, I would say what even drove them to help me with that was our mother. My mother was a single mom, raising the three of us, and it was always just being fair to one another.
Hmm.
It was always showing love. My mother's first thing was always, you get what you give, right?
Yeah,
So if you want people to love you, if you want people to want to be around you, you have to give that out as well. You can't just expect it. So again, with us being siblings, my mother always taught us, the three of you, the big trio,
yeah,
you have to stay together. You have to be, very tight knit with one another. So she instilled that on us early, to where my brothers were very just supportive. Very supportive of me and anything I did, anything I do, even like I said, to this day. So I have to give the credit to our mother on why they are the way they are about me.
I love that. Because one of your the thing about it is that for people who may have not seen Eden's Garden yet, your character has a very beautiful relationship with his mom on the show. And so, um, before I want to dive into that, just tell me, how did it come to pass for you to land the role of Rico or be a part of this project?
So I originally was not supposed to be Rico.
Okay.
I kind of think that the universe spoke for itself on that happening. So I have been following Eden's Garden since 2014. I want to say was when I started. That's when I started understanding myself more, understanding what it meant to transition from female to male. Doing my own research on YouTube, and I came across a video from the Seven King, and it was him, speaking about his transition. But then I also came about the very first episode that was ever put out on YouTube, and I remember I watched it. I watched it fully through, no pausing, skipping, fast forwarding, or anything. And then I saw the second one that came out too, and it just made sense to me, you know. So I always followed Eden's Garden since then. We fast forward to 2022, so about springtime of 2022, about 3 years ago, and I randomly got a message from the Eden's Garden page. And obviously, I
Okay.
didn't know who was running it, but I got a message, and it just, was saying, "Hey, I have this going on. I have this coming up. It's, a revamp of what I've already done. How do you feel about being a part of it? It's going to be shot in New York." And I just went, "Wait a minute, is this the same page that I've been watching for the last 8 years?" I didn't
Right.
know if it was, if it was really happening or not, if I was really getting this message. And from there, phone numbers were exchanged, and communication was being had more. And from there, I jumped into being an extra on one of the scenes. So the bedroom scene with all of the guys together was our first day of filming, and that was pretty much the only scene that I was going to be a part of. So
Okay.
I still felt like it was going to be a great experience, which is why I said, absolutely. I don't even care if I'm part of it for 2 seconds.
Right.
It was just a good experience. I never acted before or anything, so I said this would be good. And I want to say a couple of days after, I got a message from Seven, and such and such. So certain things happened, and hey,
Okay.
I have this role that's open now, and I want you to fill it. And no hesitation, I told him absolutely,
Yeah.
no hesitation at all. And obviously, I didn't fully read the script of Rico's storyline, and when I read it, it just resonated with me so much more because it was so identical to my personal experience with my mother that Seven didn't even know at the time. I hadn't even like really exchanged that information with him, and
Right.
when I told him, I remember we were just like kind of laughing, giggling about it, but more like, okay, I have to do this. Like
Yeah.
this is meant to be. I have to do
It
it.
was all aligned.
Yes, and it aligned perfectly.
Good, good, good. That made
Yeah.
me so happy because that was going to be my next question about how much of the character Rico that you played was actually similar in the ways and who you actually are.
I want to say about 80%,
Oh,
85. I'm underdoing it. Maybe 85, 90%.
okay. Okay.
For
Cool. Cool.
sure. Yep. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Having a
Um.
great, I had a great relationship with my mother. The lady that plays my mother, also just was so welcoming. Like even to this day, when we talk, it's, "Hey son, how are you, son?" And I'm like, "Hey ma," you know.
Yeah.
And she actually had a chance when we were rehearsing about a week or two before we actually met to film. We were rehearsing on the phone, and I was with my mother, and she
Oh.
actually had a chance to speak to her and kind of pick some conversations that I've had with my mother.
Okay.
So a lot of what we did in those scenes, we were kind of go obviously following the script, but even improvising off of the conversation she had, with my real mom. So it was special. It was definitely special.
What did it mean for you to actually have your very first acting role be something that's so similar to your lived experience and a role that pretty much seems like it was made for you?
It was different. Um, of course, I never expected to be behind a camera outside of just taking pictures and posting them on social media. It was very different, but it felt good. It felt very good to be a part of it because, like, where I'm from a really small city in upstate New York,
Okay.
um, smack dab center in the middle of the New York map is where I'm from. Yep. So it's not a lot that's spoken about on this topic,
Right.
nor had it been something that I spoke about openly. I'm very well known where I'm from, and obviously, yes, everybody knew, with my transition process, but I never dove deeper into, communicating like every detail, with it. So when I started letting it be known that I was a part of this project, It was just an amazing feedback. Like again, still to this day, amazing feedback that I've gotten back. So I'm always thankful and happy that I made the decision to do it, because I have people that write me and say, "Wow, I watching it, made them teary eyed, or it made them stop and say, I can't believe, people really go through that." And it's like, yeah, like it's the script wasn't written just off of
Right.
pulling stuff out of nowhere. It's This is real life stuff. So yeah,
No.
that made me feel good.
Okay, so with doing the project, was there any hesitation or any safety concerns that you had maybe in the beginning around either being outed or what it would be meaning for this project to come out, as far as maybe disclosure or anything of that nature, or were you already out living and not stepped?
Right. I was already about 7 years. Seven
Okay,
years. I want to say it was about 7 years that I was already out and open, living my life, in my truth. I said I'll never forget when after my very first hormone therapy shot, I wrote a post, and that's when I let my whole city know, you know, this is what I'm doing, and
I
then
love that.
obviously as people saw me, my physical changes happened pretty rapidly. My voice dropped within like a couple weeks, and it was everything happened pretty fast. So, um, I'm not gonna say everybody was accustomed to it, but everyone respected my decision. Like I've never had any negative feedback from it that made me feel doing this project would cause any conflict or issues.
Okay, yeah. What I love about the project is that it puts so much perspective on a demographic that oftentimes get overshadowed even by even though we are in the same community, the fact that like trans women issues kind of overshadow the trans masculine side of things because um it's various reasons I won't get into, but um I love that the only other show that I could equivalent like add to it is like Noah's Ark, and that was like 20 years ago, and so or 15 years ago, and now seeing something that brings center stage to a community that oftentimes don't get to share their narrative really shed light on the things that y'all have gone through. So before you became a character, what was it about the Eden's Garden project that made you follow it for so long?
I saw people like me on it, as in, you know, black people, minority.
Yeah.
And again, said where I'm from, I didn't know or even had come across publicly anyone that, had transitioned, whether it was male to female or female to male. So
Oh,
seeing that was very refreshing for me, because it made me feel like, okay, there, number one, there's more people that feel like me, even though
yeah.
I felt like I was, again, alone in a sense, but there's more people that feel like me, and there's more people that look like me. And it just gave me a different aura. It gave me a different aura that made me say, I got to keep seeing what Seven King has up his sleeve with this.
Yeah. And it's innovative, right? Like
Very much.
I love things that break the mold, that becomes um the nuance of all the things that people try and make taboo, but you humanize it and you make it such a invitation for people to reclaim themselves, to share human connection and experiences, right? And so,
Right.
when in your transition, did you already have an idea of what type of man you wanted to transition into? Or was it kind of like a different type of lessons or influences that you had? Because oftentimes I don't get the male aspect of the transitions. And so that show really helped me be able to understand the different variations. But I'll let you talk from a personal experience about your journey.
Yeah, absolutely. This may sound a little crazy, but it's the truth. And not to make it a redundant on talking about family, but like I said, my I had a single mother who raised us damn near perfect in her eyes. No, we things that we did were not perfect, but the way she raised us was the perfect ideal single mom. Um, and my mom was a tough cookie. A lot of guys couldn't handle her, right? So I always, I always wanted to be like, like her security guard, like her bodyguard against people, but I also wanted to be um, the person who she was molding us to be. And I always say I felt like my mom, without her realizing, as she's raising my older brother and my younger brother to be good men, she didn't show me anything different in the way that I was being raised. And I always said, I always make a joke with her and say, like, you raised me to be a good man from the beginning, like mannerisms and,
Right.
just being compassionate, to women. And one of my biggest, I guess you can say, things I wanted to always say was I wanted to be a good enough man that my mom could be proud of,
Yeah.
knowing that she raised three good men, three good boys, and that's just what I hear all day long from people. Your mom raised such good three boys. You're such great young men, and I thrive off of that. That makes me happy. So I always just wanted to be that ideal guy that my mom could be proud of because there wasn't many men that she was proud of.
Thank you so much for that. See, speaking of, being a parent, all the things you have to multitask with the things. So, allowing
Absolutely.
kid to be them, but also like chasing your dreams. So let me ask you now. Speaking of dreams, was since you've had a taste of being an actor, do you think that's something you will pursue or continue to dive into? How has this project changed your life?
That I can't wait for 17 to make that call to let us know when to pull up to start filming something again.
Okay. Okay. That's the reason.
Number one, that's my brother. I'll do anything for him.
No,
And
seriously.
anything that's in my willpower, any project that he has that he would be able to bless me to be a part of again. Again, I don't care if it's even for 2 seconds. It's just it's the experience that he gives. While you're filming with him. I mean, like I said, he does it all. Writes the script, produces it, edits it, films it. People wouldn't believe all the stuff that he does on his own. So with him, I would absolutely do anything. I would dress up in a monkey suit if he asked me to.
Right. No, let's take a moment and just give him his flowers because Seven is one of those individuals that is rare. Like I know people like to say that all the time, but he's a very rare individual because of how honest and true he is to not only himself but his craft. Like his
Right.
craft sees him in the passion that you see it in the project, you see it in the ideal and the conceptual making of whatever he want to do, right? So whether it's the series, whether it's the book, whether it's the festival, it all is of quality, it is all up to par, and it is all him. And oftentimes, when for me personally, when I get into creative spaces with individuals, there's not a lot of originality that I see that happens, but also authenticity and how can I say this? um and really like good people. Okay? Good people. And that's not to
Yep.
say that people are bad, but like meaning of their word, a man of their word, right? Men of their word in today's society is becoming far and few and in between. And so I
Right.
love working with someone who really means what they say and they honor it, even if they have to do all the blunt of the work by themselves. So
Right. Right. He gets all the flowers for it all, and from, like I said, he took an idea and ran with it, and no matter how long it's taken, just seeing the outcome of it is amazing. And we even adding in that, with Seven is, is Manny, Manny Vega, excuse me, aka Brunkle. I was trying to say Brunkle before I said Manny. Hey, that's brother and uncle put together. That's what I call him, is Brunkle. So, same. He the vision behind his support with Seven and his support in the project. And again, a lot of people don't know Manny was doing a lot behind the scenes as well, with Seven. Manny was making sure we got there on time, making sure we were in a good headspace before we started filming, making sure we ate while we were filming. Got back to where we had to go afterwards. Him and Seven were coordinating, making sure everybody got, when we dispersed, we got back to where we needed to safely. If Seven was coordinating something else, Manny was the one jumping in and doing everything, in his absence, in Seven's absence. So, yeah, the both of them, they, like you said, rare,
Yeah.
absolutely rare.
And I love that because also it shows community and creativity, right? And so oftentimes when I have experienced community, it's been in the world, advocacy world, and like um trying to change the system. But I think finding community in the lane of creativity still shares that same level of love and protection and making sure each other is okay. And so I love
Yeah.
that y'all been able to have that. What does it mean for you now to have again, like you said, you have been able to see other people like yourself? What would it mean for you now to have this newfound brotherhood of men like yourself and your experience to be able to call on?
It feels great, to be honest. Again, even another one of us, Rel. Rel, that's my dog.
Yeah,
He's the one that plays Purnell in the film. And, you know, it's just when you don't think that you're going to make these connections beforehand, and you just think, oh, we're all coming here for the same cause. We're here to support Seven and be here for him, and kind of leave it at that. And the fact that that wasn't the case, um, it's just been amazing. I mean, even from being in New York City, with Seven so many times and meeting so many different people, to when we were in Atlanta last year for a couple days for the weekend,
yeah.
showing the film out there. Again, I've saw some of those people for one day, and we've communicated for the last year as if, as if we're family. So it's just amazing. And like I said, with the brotherhood that I have, definitely, between Seven, Manny, and Ro, and a lot of others, behind this project, is it's refreshing. It feels good. And we always look forward to the next time we all link up. We're all anticipating seeing each other in a month. So
Yeah. Yeah, so that's going to be exciting. It's going to be great to be seeing everybody either for the first time in person or reconnecting with folks. And so,
yeah.
what are I know you say you're excited, but what is the one thing that you're most excited about with the Visible Voice Festival?
Well, number one, I've never been to a festival before.
Okay.
So this is going to be a different experience for me. I've also never been to a Pride event. I've never been to the New York City Pride event, or just a Pride event in general.
Oh
Um,
wow. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So I'm nervous because I know it's going to be busy. I know it's
Mhm.
going to be very busy, but um, I know that everything is going to be filled with love. So that's what I'm really excited about. Just the good vibes, the good energy. Um, Seven, got the float for us with our faces on it, for us to be able to showcase, the series. And again, just like you said, meet people who we've been conversing with, but haven't been able to see, and then reconnecting with everyone from all over, all in one spot again. So I'm happy I don't have to travel too far. I'm driving there. So it's only about a 3.5 hour drive for me to get there. Um, so I'm excited to see everybody, and again, just meet people that we haven't that I haven't had a chance to meet myself.
No, I love that. For me, it'd be my first time in New York. It'd be my first
Okay.
time at a New York. Pride event as well. And really, it's my first time really doing what I love on a bigger scale. And so for me, I'm always grateful for any opportunity. And this is for y'all lips. Oftentimes there will be opportunities that come. Um, and then there will be some opportunities that come and go. And what I've come to realize is every opportunity that comes and go is not a reflection of you. It is not an opportunity for you to internalize if you're good enough, if you messed up or you done something wrong. It literally is what is for you will always find you, and what leaves you is making room for so much more. And so
Mm,
to think about the past maybe 2 years, I've been in such a space when it comes to my platform or being a woman in this industry that I didn't feel like I was good enough because my voice wasn't visible, or I know I was putting out great content and I was looked over because you don't have the million views. But to find someone like Seven who believes in my vision and support me and show up for me when we met in Arkansas, I was getting all the bad news in the world. And so we didn't get a really chance to connect the way I wanted to, but the vibe was there, the energy was there, the creativity was there. And so to have this opportunity for him to see my work and say, I want you to be a part of this thing in New York is an honor to me, because that's something that I've thought about and manifest, but also we have that self doubt to think if we're good enough. So, lips, think about what opportunity leaves creates room for something way greater. And I wouldn't rather have this experience with working with such a person like Seven, um, versus doing it with any other person or place I could think of. So,
right.
in this project, I think what this project represents in totality and for the movement in and of itself, it's gonna be life changing for so many of us. And so I'm excited for next month.
I'm glad knowing that you're gonna be able to meet all of us down there too.
For sure, for sure. Now y'all gonna get the real me. Okay, y'all gonna get the real Mouthy, the girl from the D, okay? Okay. I'm in New York and I'm gonna turn up. Okay, you hear me? But
New York City is fun. Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited. Okay. So one thing I wanted to talk about, like one of the things I just love the youth, right? And I love how they're so bold to be who they are at such a younger age than I've been able to grasp hold of myself. But what I find to be something that don't get talked about much often when it comes to the trans masculine community is that a lot of the mainstream issues that y'all face, but it get kind of brushed off or shunned because of the stereotypes or the gender roles that happen for what a man's supposed to be. Could you kind of highlight some of those so it could connect with the audience on how it's either okay to feel that way in their experience, or they don't have to live into um, the hype of being kind of like desensitized, you will say, to that box.
Yeah, I feel like number one, everybody is different.
Mm,
Everybody's experience is different. Like I said, there's a stereotype of everyone thinks that everyone's experience is exactly the same. That
this is true.
you start your hormone therapy, you go through your changes make you feel this way, and then you want to have surgery. And everyone thinks it's just a chronological order of the way things should be done, and that is by far away from what really happens. you
Yeah,
know like I said, everybody's experience is their own personal experience and what they're going through in life, what they're going through in the moment, on anything mentally, um even again home life, work related. There's so many factors that play into when anyone is transitioning that people don't understand. So I feel like, not to be harsh, but I just feel like everyone should mind their business when it comes to that. You know, like I said, you don't know what someone's going through behind closed doors on why they make the decisions that they make. Just like we wouldn't know why anyone else is making certain decisions that they make, for the ideal typical life. Um, so, in my opinion, I just think everyone should continue to follow their own path. Don't look at somebody else's and try to compare it. You can be inspired. You can absolutely be inspired by anyone, on where you might want to go with your life, but still do things on your terms, not on what anyone else feels like. Just because of their own personal opinions on whatever they may have researched or just what they see in the media. The media is trash. I'm going to be the first one to say it.
Right.
Social media is just, it's a gift and a curse. Um, and I feel like it curses us more than it gifts us. Yes, we all love to go on and share memes with each other and laugh and giggle at, everything, but a lot of the negativity that comes about, when it comes to topics like this with transitioning, is just very, it's negative, all around, and that makes people feel even worse than they may have already felt. Maybe people are trying to get out of that negativity, and when they're online, maybe trying to seek positivity, and you don't see that. You see just nothing but disrespect.
Yeah.
Again, that just makes people feel worse, and then you don't know how different their mindset could be on if they're strong enough in that moment to get through it, or if they're not, which
Mm.
happens a lot. So I just feel everyone needs to go about, their own business, because nobody's life is perfect.
Well,
Nobody's
let
life is perfect.
mind your motherfucking business, okay? Um, and with
In
that
so
being,
many words, right?
I have been able to learn a lot of lessons lately. And I think part of my transition is a part of um, the evolution of my humanity, right? And so
Right.
that is trying to be a better person every day, but also evolve in a way that's different. So I just celebrated my 38th birthday yesterday. And so, Barry, you get
Okay.
a part to be a part of the celebration and lips
Oh,
you.
I love that. Happy birthday.
Thank you. We don't know what lies ahead of us. Um, but also I think you need to take every moment to celebrate and be grateful, especially trans folks in this country, because there is so many ways in which people want you to feel bad about yourself. But give them
Yep.
hell. Give them hell. Keep existing, keep showing up, keep being you. Um, and fuck them if they don't understand. So, and for all my trans folks who have preceded me in life, it is such a, I'm sorry, I'm such a crybaby. I am so thankful to be able to be here and do what I love and continue to let God use me in the ways that He will, because it's been a blessing to see the other end of the word curses that was posed on me. So 38 years of going against the grain, 38
Yeah.
years of always evolving, and 38 years of always being a bitch. No. um, I am grateful. And so we're just going to take a moment to not only just reflect on life, but to sing happy birthday to yours truly and to all the ancestors, to all the trans folks who didn't make it to this point to see 38. I share my life and my celebration with you. And so
Love that.
we'll take that moment, okay?
Yes.
Can all right, cool. All
You
right,
want
y'all.
you want me to start it off, or somebody starting it off?
They gonna come on in here.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, they're getting it set up. So we can just talk some more while they're getting it set up. All right.
Okay. Okay.
Thankful. I'm so thankful for you and your help. I appreciate it. You come
Yes.
bring
Yes.
it.
You got a good team behind you.
Yeah. Okay. The my biggest supporters. They're the reason why I do what I do every day.
That's
Um,
right.
that'll be a question posed to you. But the rule is, I know you have an exceptional family, but what's another um factor that inspire you to do what you do every day, Barry?
My fiance.
Okay, congratulations. You know I love love. I love love. Okay, yes.
Yeah,
That's what I'm,
absolutely.
and I think for us especially, and I'll just speak from my own experience, um, to be loved while trans is such a restorative experience because oftentimes I felt like I wasn't deserving of that
Yeah,
because I didn't see that reflection of myself in mainstream society. And so I'm glad that you have something that is loving you just for who you are.
yeah, absolutely. She's amazing.
Love.
Um, she's very shy. She's very shy. So any chance I get, even in public when I've been on a mic and I've gotten a similar question, I put it
Tell
right on the spot.
her.
Put it
Yeah.
right on. I put it right on the spot because a lot of people don't experience that, like you said, within the relationship, and we've been together for 8 years. So
Woo!
definitely, I tip my hat off to her for number one dealing with me,
Yeah. Amen.
de- de- dealing with me, everything I go through, um, and I'm a cancer, so that's a lot to deal with already.
Yeah.
So
Of the cancer, so I understand.
yeah, yep. So yeah,
I take that. All right.
definitely tip my hat off to her
I love that.
and
I love,
everyone around me. Like I said, it's been this past April was year 9 of me transitioning, and I've had nothing but great support, which, like I said, always just thrives me and makes me feel better. That I'm doing something positive that people recognize. Ooh, look at that cake! I like that cake.
thank you. They did good. Okay. All right. So let me see what we got to do. Hit that, baby. All right. And then you can light that. Barry, you want to start the honors?
Let's do it.
All right. Ooh, come
Got,
on.
gotta get it going a little bit.
Hey.
Ready?
Yes. Wait, do I have?
Happy birthday to you. Boop,
Hey.
boop.
Woo!
Happy birthday to you. Boop, boop. Happy
Happy
birthday to Miss Mouthy. Happy birthday to
to
you.
me. Woo! Thank you. Okay, I'm going to make a wish. I'm sorry. I'll be praying too, y'all. So y'all got to.
As you should.
hmm Okay. Woo! Thank you. Thank you. Smells so good. Thank you,
happy,
baby.
happy birthday.
Thank you. All right. So we going to thank you all for the beautiful comments. Yes. So boom, you had stated a lot. Let the people know how to keep up with you as we continue out this journey. And every week we're gonna have someone from the Eden's Garden Project come on and pop their shit and let them know how amazing the project was, but also who they are and what they can look forward to. And if y'all don't know, Eden's Garden is now on Tubi, so please go stream it. Please
Woo.
go watch it. Okay. The secret book is out and I cannot put it down. So also go get that on Amazon like I did. But yeah, let
That's
the
right.
people know where
Yeah,
they can
so
you want to be found. Okay.
oh yeah, yeah. My name is my name is plastered everywhere. Yes, I have a very unique spelling of my name.
Okay.
So and then that's actually my birth name. So
Okay.
um I have Instagram underscore BARRIEBROOKS underscore. So underscore Barry Brooks underscore. I look just like my picture. I just got sunglasses on. so so don't think it's not me. It's definitely me. And I'm not really too much on Facebook. So but again, it's my name, Barry Brooks. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the only social media I'm on.
Thank you. Any final thoughts? Any last things you want to say before we get up out of here?
Yeah, again, I thoroughly appreciate you. I know, everything seemed like we had to wait, earlier, but I'm glad we were able to, have our conversation and, meet this way. And I'm glad I know we're gonna meet, in about a month. It's
Yes.
counting down fast, so No, I really definitely appreciate you, from the bottom of my heart of taking your time and having a conversation with me. And it was a great conversation, so I appreciate that. I talk a lot all day long, especially at work. So continuing to, talk with intelligence and, just having intellectual conversations, I really enjoy that. So I appreciate you. And just like Miss Mouthy said, Eden's Garden is now on Tubi. It is
Mhm.
now on Tubi, so if you have not seen it, go stream that. Go get Seven Kings book Eden's Garden on Amazon. And anybody watching this that's gonna be in New York City Pride weekend, pull up on us. Pull
We
up on
gonna
us. Come have a good time. We because we're gonna be having a good time.
for real. And so I appreciate you. Thanks to those settlements.
Absolutely.
Anybody who people with seven is people with me. So of course I had to have you come on and pop your shit. I adore your character, Rico on the
Thank
show.
you.
And for someone who first time acting, you did your motherfucking big one, okay?
Oh,
And
I
so of
appreciate that.
course, it's your girl Miss Mouthy. Even when you what? Don't see me, you hear me. Till next time. Bye.
I dropped my phone.